Hello and welcome back to my channel, everybody. If you're new here, welcome, welcome. Thanks for tuning in and watching another one of my book chats. My very favorite thing to do in the world is to read. I mean, except for, hanging out with my family and all that usual stuff, and peanut M&Ms and iced coffee. Besides those things, my favorite thing to do is read. I read primarily contemporary romance these days. I have read, I don't even know, I think 10 books in the month of September. It was the craziest month. It is now the very beginning of October when I am filming this. And one of the books that I read in September is what I would like to talk to you about today. As I have started saying in my videos, I do talk in detail about the books. I get so excited. I'm so happy to be able to read books from so many great authors, and I talk in detail about the book, the characters, the plot, the story. So I don't generally give spoilers. I want you to read the book after we're done talking. But if you get a spoiler, I'm sorry. The book today that we're going to talk about, there is actually 2 previous books that this author has written. It's all in the same universe, the Pleasant Grove universe. So highly recommend to go back and read those 2 books. They have the same characters that are in this book for the most part, except this is another set of characters. Did that make sense? Okay, whatever. Let's just talk about it. Today we are going to talk about New Beginnings by Tara Lee. Finally getting around to this video. I have read, like I said, the previous 2 books in this series by Tara. Those 2 books are about Charlie and Eli. Now, don't be confused when you go back and read those books. I'm referring to Charlie in this book as Jensen's sister, but she was actually named Madison in the previous 2 books. Tara had a funny little life thing and decided to use the name Madison for a very special person in her life, and so she changed her name to Charlie in New Beginnings. I adored Madison. I'm going to refer to her as Charlie because that's what I just read. Charlie and Eli's story. Like I said, Charlie is Jensen's sister. Eli is Jensen's best friend. It was that kind of a thing. And now this book, New Beginnings, is about Jensen and Elle. We see a lot of the same characters. It's a series, so we see a lot of the same characters that we saw in those first 2 books in this book. I like the world that Tara has created with this Pleasant Grove, friends and family. Elle was new. Jensen was existing. As I said, he's Charlie's brother, so we knew him from before. Elle is a new character that's come into Jensen's life. So I really like that world that she's got going on. I know that there will be more books in this series, so that's exciting. And, without going into too much detail about the previous 2 books, which are named Taking Chances and Second Chances, Tara writes wonderful love stories that are sweet and endearing. They've got some grit to them. The males, the heroes are, hot alpha males. The girls are, usually really super likable, and you want to be friends with them, and you can picture this as your group of friends. And this book was no different. I really liked Jensen before in the previous 2 books. He's a great big brother figure. Well, he is Charlie's big brother, but, for just him as a personality is kind of like that big brother. He's kind of the strong one. He's a doctor. He's this pillar of strength, even amongst his guy friends. I like the relationships that we had seen with his guy friends, which that's what the rest of the books, if I remember correctly, are going to be about, is the guy friends. And so, you knew from the previous books what Jensen was like, and you knew at the end of Second Chances that there's a major upheaval that happens, particularly affecting Jensen. And so when New Beginnings starts, I was very hopeful for the title because I thought, oh, okay, so all is not lost. But you know what? Jensen was lost. When this book started, he was trying to figure out who he was, I guess, and where he fit in the life that he had made for himself. And I felt really bad for him. And I, was hopeful, like I said, because of the title. So he ends up leaving town. Like I said, he's a doctor. And he feels that he needs to go find people that are not in his life, but that he's recently come to find out about. And so he leaves. He kind of takes a leave of absence because his very dear friend at work, a fellow doctor, is like, you need to go get your head on straight. And if you going to do this is going to help you do that, I support that. And so he leaves town, going and searching for what we know to possibly be different other family for him. And he leaves Charlie and Eli behind, and his friends and his house. And he goes down to, he either is from Minnesota and goes down to Alabama, or it's the reverse. Nope, isn't that funny? I think he goes from Minnesota down to Alabama and to this small town where he hopes to get some answers. And then we meet Elle, and sweet Elle. Elle was your quintessential small town girl, married her high school sweetheart, but boy, did that go wrong. I adored her from the beginning, and the beginning of the book for her is pretty darn harsh. There's abuse going on. There are people turning blind eye to the abuse that she suffers. She is married to a man who is a terrible person, and there's physical and emotional abuse, and there has been for years. And he's really knocked her down, as you can imagine. I thought Tara did a great job writing Elle, because it wasn't like all of a sudden, when she meets Eli, everything is great. That you watch the evolution of these two characters in this book, and it's very sweet and very endearing and very steamy. Tara does not shy away from the steamy scenes, and I appreciate that. But like I said, there's this sweetness to her writing that I pick up on immediately. And it's something you figure out right away with Elle, that not that anyone deserves any type of abuse, but you're rooting for her 100%. And she ends up being able to remove herself from the situation, and she's very close to her grandmother. She goes and moves in with her grandmother. She was a hoot. I really liked her. And she's trying to build a life for herself, albeit still in this town. And she's got a couple jobs, and she is happily standing on her own 2 feet, and you see her get her footing and start living her life the best way that she can. And she's happy that she has jobs, and it was very endearing. And then lo and behold, she runs into, I think Jensen. Jameson, did you hear what I did there, Tara? Whoops. I think Jensen, I think he comes to her, is it the bar? Anyway, she works at a restaurant and a bar, and he comes in and he sees her and he's like, wow, and she is like, oh, no, I don't have time for that. No, he's cute. He's super cute, but I'm just not doing this. And lo and behold, that's where their story starts. As you can imagine, her ex-husband, soon-to-be ex-husband, Curtis is his name, he's not having, her trying to separate from him and divorce him. So I really worried about that, how that was going to play out, because he's obviously very unstable, and I didn't know how deep and dark, the story was going to go. I worried about her loved ones, her grandma, that he was going to do something to them. I really worried about him in general, and whenever he was part of it, he was like this loose cannon that I couldn't nor did I want to figure out. Jensen, has won her over to a degree, and I should say for the most part, but yet there's this hesitation that she has. She realizes how polar opposite they are, and that she doesn't ever see Jensen being able to hurt her. And he tells her, I would never hurt you. And yet Jensen is this opposing alpha male, imposing alpha male, and she likes the strength that he has and how he protects her and takes care of her and stands up for her. And that's what I got from him throughout their whole story. Even when he was low in his own life and didn't know where his life was, and he was confused, and everything that brought him to going and searching for himself, he was still this strong guy that everyone leaned on. And these two really, I felt organically, she wrote two people who fell in love perfectly. And that's what I mean when I say that she writes fairy tales. That with her books that you're going to get a hero that you get a crush on, a heroine that you totally identify with and you like and you want to be friends with or could see yourself as, or all that good stuff, and you get a story, you get a tale. And definitely New Beginnings did that for me, and I was really happy at the ending, and I felt like it ended in a good place where I felt like good for them, and I liked them, and I wanted to see where it went, and I was glad where it went, and also very glad that I know we're going to get more from some of the other characters that we had met in the first two books, that we saw again in this third book, and I know that there's going to be more. So thank you so much for tuning in and listening to my book chat about New Beginnings by Tara Lee. If you have read any of Tara's books, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you, and I'd love to hear which ones you read. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I will see you soon. Bye, guys.